G'day, Mr. Fitz here, hope you're going well. This tutorial is going to show you in detail how to set up your Fusion for CNC machining. This is a much more detailed one than my earlier video. It's really important, I can't stress, to take your time to go through this. There are a lot of steps, and if you make any errors, there is a high risk you're going to get a poor outcome of your parts, or you will have some issues with the machine. To start with, it's important that you download from Canvas these two files. One is a tool store and one is the setup of the machine. Flying over to Fusion, my example today is going to be this little part here. It looks like a shark fin. I'm going to be cutting this out of 17mm plywood. That's the first thing to double check on your part design, is to go into your extrusion of your solid and make sure that the distance of the extrusion matches the material. Otherwise you're going to have issues from the start. So 17mm ply, 17mm extrude. You can see my design here that I'm going to be cutting a profile around the outside, and then these internal bits here are called pockets. So there's two different steps to my part. Now at the very next step for here, I actually want to cut two of these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to treat this a bit like an assembly of what I'm going to lay on my CNC machine. So apologies, new design. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drag this part out onto my new part. So this is a bit like an assembly. So because I want two of these, I want to drag one out and just dump this one as it lies. Ground to parent is okay, and press OK. So this is my first part. My second part is going to be the same. Drag another one out. In this case, I'm going to move this part over here. So on my CNC bed, I'm going to have these two cut side by side. The next thing I encourage you to do with this design is to ensure that these are sitting on the same plane. You'll have a lot of problems with your machining if these two parts don't sit on the same plane. What I mean by that is if I grab and move this, you'll notice that the part flies up into 3D space. That's going to cause you dramas in your design. What I encourage you to do is to press J on your keyboard to create a joint. You've probably done these before in assemblies. Go to motion, choose planar, and then what I can do is treat this as my master position. I'm going to choose the top face of this part, click once there, and then click the top face of this one. You'll notice here that it's flipped it upside down. It's not exactly what I want. If I click on flip, it's going to put them over each other. I can also use the arrows again to move that and go OK. And you'll notice with that those two now will forever sit on that top face. I can move this around now and they're all sitting on the same plane. It's always encouraged with your designs to try and orientate these in the way that's going to save on material in your machining. If you want to move parts further, if I close this here, if I go to modify and then move and copy, I can click on a part like this one, and if I choose to, I can rotate it or move it into a good spot. Again, trying to minimize material waste. So for this one here, I'm actually happy to have these side by side. It's important when you lay these out as well that you leave a bit of a gap depending on the size cutter we're going to use. I'm going to use a 6mm, so I probably need about 12mm on these. If you're unsure the distance, you can use the measuring tool and say from that line to that line. That's sitting about 20mm. That's fine. Anything over 12 is good. Cool. The next thing I encourage you guys to do, if you're doing a project that's quite large and it's going to be close to the size of the bed, I'd encourage you to do a sketch on this top face here. It gives you this little warning, just go capture position. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw just a loose rectangle around my part here. Ensure you dimension this. And I'm going to make this the same size, or roughly the size of the bed of our CNC machine, which is 1200. I'm actually going to make this 1500. 1150. I'm going to allow 50mm of clearance in that way, and then my bed size 1150. Sorry, that way, and then dimensioning here, I'm going to make this 550. The max we can machine is 1200 by 600, but we need to also take into account that we need to clamp our work down, so you're going to have a little bit of material around the outside. Cool. finish your sketch. This is just there to serve as a purpose, as a guide. So keep laying your parts out. I'd also say that it's best to consider this front corner of your work as being the front of the machine, which I'll show you in a second what that's going to mean. Cool, so that's going to be no problems. That's going to fit on my sheet. If you're doing small parts, you can get away without having to do this rectangle. It's kind of just a bit of a check that if you're playing around with adding lots of bits to make sure you're within that space. I know I'm pretty safe there. I can actually go back into that sketch and turn it off. No problems. Okay, next step. We're going to go over to manufacture. Just press cancel on this one. I had some information on this part. Okay, first thing we're going to do is to set up our job. Now, once we click on setup, what's going to happen here is the program's going to draw a theoretical box around your work. And this is where we get the chance to sort of set up our coordinate system. So kind of like your 0, 0, 0 of your part. This is really important to know as to where this is going to go on the bed of the machine. For this kind of style of part, I would, if I'm using a full sheet, I would be setting up this point here as my origin. The other thing that's really important to set up is the direction of your axes. Now, please follow this closely, because if you get this wrong, your whole job will be back to front and not work at all. The orientation that we like to use is this one, Z-axis, plane, and Y-axis. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump across to select a Y-axis. So what I can do on this is I can choose an edge like this, which is the Y-axis is the long direction of my machine. If you haven't got a straight edge to choose, you can pick the Y-axis of from the origin, which if you highlight over these, you'll find, in fact, it's actually the X-axis of my origin. So if I press on there, what that will do is you can see my Y runs this way. I'm going to flip this over, so I want the Y-axis to run this along this way. Now again, my stock box point, I'm going to click back on here, I'm going to put it on that top corner. So that is my 0, 0, 0. Really important that yours looks the same as this. This is the corner of the machine. Y-axis is the long length of the bed. X-axis is along this way. And then the vertical is the Z. That's the depth of our cut. Please ensure it's at top corner as well. If you do it on the bottom, it's going to confuse the machine and it will likely either cut through the bed or it will cut in thin air. So that top corner. Some jobs, if you're doing a small job or your sheet is in the center, you might choose this point is a logical way to do it if you're doing a small cut. If this is on a full sheet, I like to use this bottom corner. All right, next from here on stock, we can ignore adding stock offset for this one. So the job's going to be as per that size. No other things to set there. You can, on the model, choose these two parts. If you don't select that at all and just go OK, it'll give you a warning and it will just grab them anyway. So that's chosen those two parts for us to machine. All right, job's now set up. The next thing we need to do is start assigning jobs to machine. So the machine now knows where everything is. Now we need to tell it what we're actually going to cut. So the two things we're looking at in this tutorial, the first one's a 2D pocket. Please do pockets before you do contours and try to do anything internal before we cut the outside of our shape. I'll explain why in a minute. So start with a 2D pocket. Now this is the first bit. It's going to take you some time. In the first instance, we're going to have to go and choose a tool. So click on here. Now, the first time you do this, you're going to have to go to your local library and you're going to right click and go import libraries. So local, right click, import. You're going to bring in the tool store. This is one of the downloads that I showed you at the beginning that you'll get off Canvas. This will bring in the St. John's tool store. I've recently added tool number 23. If you're cutting plywood and you're cutting profiles, please choose this tool. This is preset with all the feed rates and all the information. Go select. Cool. So check the coolant's disabled. Everything here should be preset for you, so there's nothing else to do on the tool. Skipping across on here, so avoid pressing OK at the beginning here. We've got quite a few things to set up. So geometry. Now I need to choose the pockets. So you can choose the bottom face of the pockets. Don't choose the top edge, otherwise it won't have a depth of cut. So here and here. Alternatively than choosing the face, you can choose the bottom edge. Click them up together. Next, we are going to go across to passes. Scrolling down here, we're going to turn off stock to leave. We don't need that in this instance. And we're going to set up multiple depths. Now for this particular job and cutter, I'm going to make a maximum roughing depth of 6 millimeters. We should never go deeper than the diameter of the tool. For this one, use even step downs. Leave these as they are. Across here on linking, what we can do is turn off lead ins and turn off lead outs. If you leave those on, when the tool comes down, it will often offset it and it will damage your part. Last thing we can change is the ramp type, and we can go plunge and leave those settings there and then go OK. Once that's done, it will grab all of that. Okay, that's the first toolpath there. You can see it shows you coming in, it's going to cut the pockets first. The next operation we're going to add is a 2D contour. Now what this is going to do is cut the outside shape. So do this one last. If you've got internal pockets or internal contours, do them first before you do this one. Okay, so choosing the same tool that's pre-selected, we're going to skip across to the geometry. I'm going to grab these two bottom edges, and you can see it grabs the path of those pockets. Now the other important thing we have to add here are some tabs. These are going to be these little tabs here. So what this does is when we cut this outside, at the very end, if I cut through the part, this part's going to come loose and it's going to fly away. So the tabs allow this to keep in place. If you can increase the tab width to 20 or 15 is probably good enough. And the tab height, please make this 2.5 is a good setting. You want this to be fairly chunky. What can happen if your heights aren't right or if your timber's bowed and you don't add tabs at all is these part will break off and it can get jammed on the tool and it can damage it. So you want to keep the parts in situ. That's really important. So 15 mil is a good width. 2.5 is a good tab height. And the tab distance is the spacing. That's okay. All right, skip across to passes. We're going to repeat what we did on the last one. So we're going to do multiple depths. And the roughing depth is going to be 6 millimeters. Don't go deeper than that, thanks. You're going to have problems. The rest of those defaults are good. Linking, please turn out lead in and lead out in this instance. And that should be okay. Press OK, and that should now run the toolpaths. That looks good. It's green. There's no errors. What we can do is go over here, actions, and go simulate. This will allow us to watch the machining. So obviously it's chosen the contour here. If you click on the pocket, it will show you that one. This just shows you the path. You can see it's all clear of the work. There's no errors that pop up. That's good. Cool. As you can see here, it even shows you the tabs. All that detail looks great. The very last step to do here, we're going to go to post-process. This is where we're going to output our file. We need to first choose the machine. In the first instance, go to Open, right-click on Local. Go to Local, and then you're going to Import. So Import. When you import, you're going to have to find the Axiom machine. This ensures that the file that is outputs is correct to our machine that we use here at school. Select this one. Give your program a name. So this is like Mr. Fitz. Always put your name in the file, Mr. Fitz Fin CNC. Choose the output folder, preferably put it into a safe folder that's going to save, and then ensure millimeters, program, and go post. Okay, that's the wrong folder, but that should output the file. Once the file is output, it'll be an NC file. You need to email that to your teacher or get that onto a USB. Take it over to the project to run. So 2 operations, it gives you a bit of an information on the time. The rest of the process you're going to work with your teacher to set up and do yourself. Cool, all the best with that. As I said from the beginning, it's super important that you go through these steps slowly and you get that all right. Any mistakes that you make in the process are going to affect your job. All the best. Hope your parts work out well.